Here in the United States, in a single week, we must look to the fact that the new administration in Washington has superbly risen to the occasion. In less than 3 months, we passed more important legislation than any other Congress in history, including such landmark measures as the TVA, the Agricultural Adjustment Act, and the Public Works Administration. And it was bipartisan, too. When the Emergency Banking Act appeared on the House floor, the Republican floor leader stood up and bellowed, "The House is burning down, and the President says this is the best way to put out the fire." It passed after less than 45 minutes of debate. Usually it takes that long for congressmen to just clear their throat. Combined with my dynamic efforts to put people to work and to cure our economic woes, I became quite popular. One worker wrote me after we passed the Wagner Act guaranteeing the right to join a union that I was the first president ever elected who understood why his boss was a son of a bitch. By the time I got to my 4th term, the joke made the rounds of a married couple celebrating their newborn son. People were used to me being president by then. The mother exclaimed over the child, "Why, he couldn't even be president when he grows up." Outraged, the father gruffly replied, "Oh yeah? What's the matter with Roosevelt?" By my 2nd term, I had maintained my concern for those Americans still without the necessary elements of a decent life. I explained to the country that I still saw 1/3 of the nation ill-housed, ill-clad, ill-nourished. But by then, one of the other successes of the New Deal was becoming apparent. All across Europe, nations plagued with similar economic woes were turning to dictators, hate-mongers, and burners of books who respected neither persons nor laws. In our country, on the other hand, democracy survived. It was not easy, but it came because we had a flexible system able to rise to new challenges and come up with innovative solutions. In 1943, Winston Churchill made a speech praising my courage and foresight and argued that I had prevented a revolution in the United States. By the late 30s, like democracies everywhere, we were preparing for war. I told our country and the world, we must be the great arsenal of democracy, turning our industrial might to the construction of what it took to defeat our enemies. I promised, for example, that we would make 50,000 planes in a year to create a mighty air force. Minister Goebbels of Germany scoffed. America makes razor blades and refrigerators, he laughed, not weapons. And no country can produce 50,000 planes in a year. Germany never made more than 11,000. In 1944, the United States made 96,000 planes. That was, by the way, more than the yearly total for Germany, Japan, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union combined. By 1941, I had created Lend-Lease as a way of providing the sinews of war to our allies. We would send them the tools and they would return them or pay us back after the crisis was over. I explained it this way. Suppose my neighbor's home catches fire and I have a length of garden hose. If he can take my garden hose and connect it up with his hydrant, I may help him to put out his fire. Now, what do? I don't say to him, neighbor, my garden hose cost me $15. $15 for it. No! I don't want $15. I want my garden hose back after the fire is over. I observe what I'm trying to do is eliminate the dollar sign. But Winston Churchill, my good friend, called it the most unsordid act in the history of any nation. By the way, included in the very first shipment to England under Lend-Lease were 900,000 feet of fireworks. With my good friend Winston, we also created a body of